Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
Hello everyone. I, Dr. Tanu Narang, Associate Professor, Auro University, thank UGC Human Resource Development Center of Gujarat University for giving me an opportunity to connect with you and deliver my session on the topic Recent Trends of Personal Branding in the Digital Space. I thank Professor Jagdish Joshi, Professor and Director of UGC HRDC of Gujarat University. HRDC of Gujarat University is doing a phenomenal work in the field of disseminating training education, as they are the pioneer and they have created a benchmark by actually organizing many programs. And just to name a few, it was has organized the first of its kind online annual refresher program in English language, Arpit, with record breaking 9,000 participants in the year 2019-20. The website of UGC HRDC Gujarat University is dynamic, wherein it provides consultancy, invites international resource persons, even uploads feedbacks of participants, etc. And indeed, a very innovative and established training institute. I'm once again thankful for them to give me this opportunity to talk on one of my favorite areas and topics, and also being very recent, that is the recent trend of personal branding, especially on the digital space. So, please allow me, friends, to share my screen with my presentation that I have prepared. As I can see that most of you are able to see the presentation here, I would like to now take you through the presentation. So we are going to talk about the recent trends of personal branding in the digital space. Now, I would like to take you through the flow of the presentation. So that a document is also available which has the same flow for all of you. I will first like to introduce the personal branding as an introduction, as a topic. And then I would like to talk more about the importance or the advantages of personal branding, especially in the digital era. And then, because it is personal branding, the whole idea revolves around positioning yourself and what is your brand. So basically, identify yourself as a brand. So the topic will be about positioning yourself. Then we will move towards understanding the steps of branding processes. These are 4 steps. And then there are certain laws, like the entire nature runs on laws. So there are certain laws, and therefore, for personal branding also, there are certain laws. So we will go and examine that what are the, not too many extensive, but what are the laws of personal branding. And in the end, it's always important to learn by examples, right? And so therefore, how we will reach out to some examples and the learnings that come from people who have individually grown as brands beyond their identification of the company that they own or the company that they work in, right? And how they've been able to achieve that. So beginning with personal branding and introduction. Now, the interesting thing is here that branding as a concept usually is seen something which is more for company defined. But here I like to say that here, when you start seeing yourself as a brand, it becomes personal branding, right? So basically, it's when you work on the brand yourself, right? This is really becoming a major thing in today's time, because we are all moving towards, from collectivism we are moving towards individualisms, right? And we're very very individualistic in our approaches, and therefore We want our identity to be built up, and especially in the stage where we are in the digital era, where we are so much connected and so much available. Even if you want it or do not want it, you are available on the space. If you are anywhere working, if you are using a smartphone, even if you have any email id, you are available on the space, right? So it's indispensable for any working individual, or anybody, as a matter of fact, today who carries any kind of device, not to be present on the digital space. So why not to make it more productive, useful, and the way you would want to be seen, right? Why not to control it? Why not to have the control on your own hands? And interestingly, the personal branding actually can serve as a ladder to escape average. You can go beyond, and become more, beyond being just average. Okay, so here I like to say that you can project yourself the way you would want to. This would be your space. Interestingly, you're just like any other brand, you're trying to build a perception here, and you can build your narrative, your stories. Now when I say stories, I would like to say that it does not mean that you should be lying about yourself. It's not about that. It's about the narrative that you want to weave. So I personally know about a professor, a lady professor, I wouldn't want to take her name right now, who has weaved her narrative on her social media presence and all the communication mediums that she has on the digital space as a highly body positive person. Some have projected themselves as people who are doing cultural studies. So in the academic arena also, many I'm sure many of the faculty members who are attending here might feel that this is something more for youngsters who are trying to be influencers on the social media, or someone who is trying to is an entrepreneur and wanting to build their own business and identity thereafter. But I feel this is for everyone, and why not for us academicians? I want you all to I want you all to start thinking on every slide as you as a teacher. We are the biggest influencers, if you ask me. The power that we have always had, we already have it. Only thing is that we have to now use it on another medium, and all the more I think now digital space gives us all the freedom and all the liberty. I always strongly feel that we have been publishing our work in academic journals, in books, etc. uh, and that was largely for accessibility to the youngster students. But today I want to tell you that where your audience is as a teacher, your audience is on the digital space. They are present on social media, they're using the digital medium, various digital mediums of communication. So why not create a presence there? So this is very important that you build your own perception stories. And basically, yes, personal branding is a practice of marketing oneself to the society. That's what you're actually doing. We very proudly go and say that, we are a teacher or we are a professor. Why not to say that loudly enough that people can see and access you? So if I have to put it technically, or if I have to put it in form of a definition, so it is a process by which individuals differentiate themselves by identifying and articulating their unique value propositions, and then leveraging it across all platforms with a consistent message and image, of course, to achieve a specific goal. So, an individual's personal brand is a reflection of his or her skills, abilities, and lifestyles. So, I also know of many people who are great dancers, right? But all their life they did not get that opportunity today, till then, to project themselves as great dancers. So, today, social media is flooded with women, men, of various ages, backgrounds, who are constantly projecting themselves and are showing their skills and keeping that goal of showing that yes, you can dance, okay, and reaching out to a number of people. So it could be anything that you want to do. It could be any perception that you want to build. It's therefore any story, any narrative that you want to build. Moving forward, why is it so important, especially in the digital era? So the best thing is everyone is online. Think about someone who is not online. I mean, it's very difficult, at least for me, to really go and scan through in my first locus of control or even beyond that who is not online. Everyone is present online. And there are time frames, especially with the digital phones in our hands. We don't have any time frames. We are always online. All right. So everyone's online. That's a parallel universe that we are into. So you need to transcend in that universe also. I like to quote a survey. Since if you we want to look it from an employee point of view, I want to quote a survey by Forbes done in 2019, which says that according to this survey, 70% of employers use social media to screen candidates during the hiring process. And 43% of employers actually use social media to check on their current employees. So, if you're looking for a job, you are still being scanned through the social media that you are present on, whether that's LinkedIn, any platform. That could be LinkedIn, that could be Instagram, that could be Research Scholars, it could be your Facebook or Twitter or any possible social media platform. And if you're looking at a new job, and if you're currently in a job, you're still being scanned by your activities in the parallel universe, right? So that is an important space, and you need to control what people should see and how they should see you. So whether you know it or you not, you have a personal brand. You already have a personal brand. So you know what you should, for a fun activity, what you should do is go on the Google and type your name. I have done that a number of times, right? So type your name on the Google and see what pops up. That's your current brand. That is exactly your current brand. Any picture, any image, any text, anything that's appearing right now on Google is your personal brand. How many of us are controlling that narrative? And interestingly, on Web 2.0, it is very easy to control. It is achievable, right? So let us have the charge of our own narrative. And therefore, it's important today, especially in the digital era. Now, the question is, do you want to allow your online reputation to take on a life of its own or control the narrative? What is your choice? Do you want that, let it evolve on its own, let it be on its own, or you want a control of it? I think most of us would want to control our narrative. We would want that our online reputation should be in our control. Everyone wants our reputation to be controlled by our own selves. Why should anybody else have the charge, right? So let it not just go by flow. Let's take charge of it. You know what? If you're communicating either a text, image, voice, and video, these are the various indispensable parts of our life. You know what? I know of a lot of people who prefer just the voice, so they have run podcasts. So that also is building your narrative. So I don't want to be present on social media platform. I don't want to write a blog. I don't want to do a video. But yes, I like to speak. I would like to make episodes about knowledge. I would like to disseminate what I want to speak, what I want to say, what I want to express. Go for it. It's a podcast. Videos, you have platforms like YouTube's, etc., to put your videos on that. Images, a beautiful narrative through images can be said. What you're doing on your daily life, or what you're capturing around your environment, and then what are your the way you see, that can be said. Or as simple as have a broadcast list on WhatsApp and have your text written. So it totally depends on you that what is the communication that you would like to pick up, and then which is the platform that you like to use this communication weaving. So interestingly, what are the advantages? Now if we come down to the advantages, I like to tell you that of course it will help you in your current job. So yes, everyone wants to be famous. You want to be known for being what you're best at, and you want appreciation in your current job. um, you can always for teachers it becomes much easier, and also for anybody it will help you, because it can run in your advantage, okay, only if it has to coincide with what you're actually doing. It can really help you in a career search. In today's time, as teachers, most of us time we think that we would want to write a book, publish it sometime, but feel some of us feel that we don't have the time. Sometimes most of us feel that we don't have the kind of money to put to our publishers. Sometimes it's also about the strict academic style of writing that we are not able to do it. But then, interestingly, here, as I said earlier, you can use text, voice, video, and audio, and images to build that. This will help you. People will reach out to you. People want, today, even universities and colleges want popular faculties. Why? Because they are also are a stakeholder, and are also one of the search points that universities are searched on before the student seeks admissions. So I'm just trying to relate this with more being a teacher. It also helps you in finding new opportunities and partnerships. So sometimes it's never for the job, it's for new avenues to open up, new partnerships to come ahead with, right? It also helps you grow your wealth. Well, that should definitely not be your primary goal, but it would definitely help you grow your wealth. As in when the opportunities start coming in, pouring in, there are endless opportunities, endless ways in which we can collaborate. Of course, networking, how beautiful platform we already have in our place of networking and making connections. But if you are dormant on that space and not building your personal brand, you will not be. So I know of a lot of people who have been able to get jobs only by being very active on LinkedIn, or have got many consultancy work, or have got into many other interesting avenues to showcase their skills, only because they have been actively working and projecting themselves on certain platforms. Networking definitely helps. I think we don't need to spend much time on the importance of networking. And above all, although the point is kept in the last, but it's definitely going to amplify your joy factor. It's going to give you happiness. It's going to give you personal fulfillment. Because sometimes, even though you may be in the job of your dream job, but then sometimes there are things that you need to do for your own passion. So when I say for teachers, I do not necessarily mean that you may be a teacher of mathematics, but you may be a very good dancer. Maybe you're a Kathak dancer. You have a degree in Kathak, right? Why don't you use it? Collaborate, doesn't matter. Or maybe you're a good painter, or maybe you're a good artist, or maybe you know how to do calligraphy. So something which is there lying dormant, bring it up. This will bring fulfillment to your life. So these are some of the advantages. The advantages can be endless depending on what are your priorities. So the first moving thing that after we understand the whole arena of personal branding, its importances and its advantages, the second most important thing here would be positioning yourself. At the end of the day, you're trying to become a brand. You want to position yourself. And what is your brand? So basically, positioning is very close to establishing your identity. Positioning is something that you do to the mindsets, right? It's a very tangible thing, right? So how do you start? How do you want? Now, positioning is something which is where you want. How do you want to be seen, right? How do you want the people to see you? So the first step should be that start with a rough sketch, right? um, and positioning can come only internally. So your brand positioning is mainly expressed in your output. So what do I mean when I say expressed in your output? Number one, it is of course the work you do, because most of us, the work that we do becomes our identity. Or for many, it could be the products they sell. Or for many, it could be the services that they provide, or sometimes just the content that you create. So let's say I wanted to be a singer all my life, but I could not. Singing is my content. I want to be projected as singers. Or let's say that I always wanted to be a painter. So painting is my positioning, right? Here I like to take name of an artist who actually does cool sketches, right? And basically he's a director in movies. So I like that most of you should go and check out Umang Kumar's page. So Umang Kumar, as I'm sure all of you would know, is a famous director. He has to be his some noteworthy work has been that he has directed the movie Mary Com. And please go and check out his Instagram page. And this is something I discovered, that he is an amazing painter and he makes portraits, and he's one of the PETA members, and he likes he works for animal protections, and he makes beautiful sketches of animal and their belongings, and then there's paintings, etc. And then and the whole weave of his Instagram page is on that. So basically, it may not always be what you do. Interestingly, it may be something that gives you happiness, something that you always wanted to do. It's your skill, and that's how you can want to project yourself. And then it may become your parallel career. It may give you a lot of opportunities, right? These are the way, a content can also come out. Your content could be anything that comes out of your skill. You will automatically gravitate towards doing certain work, certain research, or a skill. Your positioning will start reflecting automatically. So it's basically an inward process that you will have to start. Again, here, when you are moving towards positioning, the question is, do you want to be jack of all trades or master of one? Now, this is somewhere where before you begin, you have to put your hours into. Whether you want to be a journalist, or not the J, but the G, generalist, or whether you want to be the specialist. Uh, that is something where individual has to figure out. And based on this, usually your positioning will be developed. So, when should you think whether you should be a generalist? Just to give you some guidelines. Among the best at what you do. So if you feel that there are a lot of things that are available, and then I'm the best among those things, then comfortable doing a lot of things together. So if you are a multitasker and you do a lot of things together, then generalist is your thing. You're multi-talented, and you have accomplished a few different fields, and you have accomplished that. So one example that I gave, that you're a teacher but you've also finished your Kathak degree. You're a teacher, and you also do dancing, singing, painting, social work. You recommend, you do consultancy or whatever. So you do, if you want to put those both things, etc. And then you also want to talk about how beautiful homemaker, and then you also want to show that you're a mother, or whether you're interested in some kind of another social activity. So then generalist is your thing. Then coming to specialist, when you know that this is that one thing that I can do one best, and I have this one unique selling proposition that I want to talk about. I am excellent in econometrics. I will speak only econometrics. I will simplify it for them, right? And you're sure that for that one thing that you're choosing, yes, there is a target audience. And based on the target audience, you also have to search the platform, right? So then you have to figure out whether you would be a specialist or generalist. So, yeah, we were discussing about the steps of the branding process. Now, there are four simple steps the moment you move towards the process of personal branding. Now, the number one step is discover your brand. The number two step is develop your brand. The third is communicate your brand. And the fourth is maintain your brand. So let us explore each one of the steps one by one. The moment I move forward and we talk about the step one, that is discover your brand. So the discover your brand, because you're also talking about personal branding. So it's not something that you have to discover in a particular service or a product. It is something that you have to discover within yourselves. And therefore, discover your brand, right? It comes first with self impression, who you are. What do you want to do in life? And focusing on your strengths, passions, and goals. So, these are a few questions that you need to ask in your step one when you want to be discovered as a brand. So, basically, in order to remain authentic throughout, you need to know that who actually you are, right? What you do best, what you want from your life. And we need to really conduct a SWOT where we need to do our strengths, passions, and goal. A very interesting thing here I like to speak about passion particularly. So, passion is something I had read a beautiful line somewhere that passion is something that you're not just interested to do. Passion is something where you're ready to do suffering. So, if you're ready to go that extra mile, then that's truly your passion. Moving ahead, self discovery or self impression can be done by some insights from you and also some insights from others. Now, this has also been given as one of your assignments and activity where I would want you to reach out to your own self and also to others for the same. Insights about you. Now, when you need to know that today, if I planned to move for branding as a goal on the digital space, what are my goals? What is my primary goal? What do I want to achieve by doing this? Do I want to continue growing in my existing job, is in my existing career? Am I here to pursue another passion that I could not do earlier? Or I'm here to build a community that thinks alike me, or whatever. The goal is completely yours. So think about the goal. Without a goal, you can't just become a brand, right? It could be as simple as figuring out opportunities because you want to project yourself as an expertise of a particular thing. You're an IT expert and you do certain programming very well, or you know a certain language very well and you think you're a pro in that, so you want to project that branding. So that could be also your goal. The goal has to be done with personal drivers. What drives you most? And that personal drivers will also help you identify that which are the platforms that you would want to use. So, as I had quoted in my session earlier, also, that usually what is happening is that. When we have so there is someone who is not very comfortable in a video, so audio is their only way, then that's what is their personal drive. So that gives you an opportunity to build podcasts, right? So you know that you have this personal drive to write very well. It's poetry, or it's shairi, or it's just discourses. Okay, that could be your personal drive. It could be a skill. What drives you? And then what is your value system that you would still want to hold on to? So, what you're passionate about, once again, how to identify your passion is the biggest challenge. I think it's very easy to say. We very quite oftenly we use this word passionate very loosely, and therefore I said that is not something that simply interests you. It's something where you're ready to suffer for, right? So, passionate about, you really, really want to do it. What you're known for, that will always be an advantage. So the insights from you can come what you're really known for. Even if you're a teacher, what are you really known for? Are you really known for the wittiness that you do in your classrooms? Or are you really known for the superb time management that you do? Or are you really known for how easy difficult concepts are you're able to simplify them and put so what you're known for is something that you personally would sometimes know, and what do you have answers to? through your readings, through your knowledge, or through your otherwise awareness in the about the environment, or over the period of time of expertise, experience. So these some insights about you, these some exercises and questions about your own self will actually help you know that what is the positioning that you can develop on your personal branding. It's also important to have insights from others. So how do others describe you? It's very important to know that how would others, what are the adjectives that others would use for you. You can always use this, and I don't know, there is a research bias that can come if you would directly go and ask them. These are the ways that you have to figure out that how others actually describe you. So if you can have honest reviews, nothing like that. What are the three compliments people make about you? So usually you would be aware about it, and otherwise you can always ask that in form of a non-biased way question, that how, what are the three adjectives, positive adjectives or compliments that people would want to say about you. What makes people stop and watch and say wow about you? It could be my mathematical skills, my fast calculation. It could even be the way I dress. It could even be the way I dance, the way I sing, the way I speak, anything which makes people have that wow factor. A combination of the insights that come from you and the insights that you get from others will actually help you do a self discovery and develop a self impression from that, and thereafter let you know that yes, this is who I am, and therefore by a little tweaking and a little narrative and story building around that, I will be able to present myself as the same person, but in much more controlled and beautified manner. The step two is, once you are aware about your own self, uh, it is develop your brand. The traditional ways we unknowingly also do is as simple as the business card that we have, which has our designation, our address, our company's name, or wherever we are working, or many other things. So that's like our business cards. We're already putting that as a brand. Um, People like us who are teachers have our resumes, our professional portfolios. Artists or designers have their professional portfolios made, cover letters developed, some reference documents. So these have always been the traditional ways. Okay, whether you go for a new job or you want to have a new business or anything, whenever, even if people want to have new contracts, etc., they these are the traditional ways. Today's non-traditional ways today on the digital platform are innumerous. Okay, video resumes. Have you ever thought of it? Why can't you have a small video resume? As simple as WhatsApp that resume. Why can't we have that? We can always have that, right? Um, People ask resumes. WhatsApp me his or her CV. Send a video resume along with that, or build your LinkedIn profile. So I'm sure all of us are already experiencing this, that whenever there is a guest which or guest faculty or anyone who comes down to our universities or college for lectures, and we need to have an introduction, many of them simply send their LinkedIn profile because everything is all listed there. But I've also seen many people who haven't updated their LinkedIn profile. So the moment I see such, I build a perception about them already, right? So LinkedIn profiles, some people have been giving their websites or blogs, right? So interesting. So in the blog, I would have all my research work there. I don't today's time need to depend on any publisher to publish my work. I want to put my day-to-day workings, my achievements, the things that I do on my blog. Send them their blog. Send them the link of your blog. Let them reach out to your blog. If you want to sound very a professional, or also if you want to reach out for consultancy works, etc., a client testimonials extra can be there. Twitter definitely is one of the platform. So your existence apart from Twitter in various other social networkings can be another non-traditional ways of reaching out. As I mentioned already, that a survey was done wherein 43% and 73% employers are actually scanning new employees and current employees. So interestingly, there are digital business cards today. If you don't really have to have a paper card today, there are apps that are available, very inexpensive apps where your entire digital presence and everything can be formed, and you can simply WhatsApp them, and they are definitely compatible on various platforms, and they all have to just press on it, and all your details will get saved on. So there are ways that non-traditional ways, and these help you develop a brand. Keeping yourself updated in these ways, these platforms, these avenues actually help you develop as a brand. Now, in order to develop as a brand, we need to do the following. Number one, identify your target audience. So if you are a generalist or you're planning to be a specialist, it's very important to know that whom you want to talk to. Who is your audience? Is it a young person? Is it someone in their 40s, 50s, particular geographical area, whatever? That is something that is very important. Second is, write a professional profile for your target audience as if you are the only person on earth who can give them the solutions. So, yes, you have to do that kind of projections. That's why and where and when these target audience will come and reach to you. Strike a dialogue. You have to be responsive on those platforms. You cannot afford to be doormat. People love to have answers. There are brands today who are giving answers just on Facebook messages or Instagram messages, and I'm talking about global brands answering there, right? So it's very important to be responsive, and also important to give solutions, reach out, strike dialogues, understand your USB, and use your ability on that. Answer as to why are you the go-to person in the field and your expertise. So please give your relevant documents to prove that yes, this is the reason that you are an expert. If today I say that I'm a branding expert, if I want to claim that, I will have to give my relevance for the same, right? My proof for the same. So I can showcase all the seminars that I have been doing, all the pictures that can be uploaded. Now this is a time taking effort also, I would like to say. It doesn't happen overnight, right? So you just have to remain updated so that people treat you as a go-to person. Do your strength analysis, and the strength analysis is clearly based on your SWOT, wherein you talk about your strategy. All the time build your strategy, what will be doing next. You have, the digital space is highly evolving, highly moving and dynamic, therefore. So now what will be your strategy? You also have to develop your long term and short term goals both here. Please be aware about the competition. Even in the space of personal branding, you have competition. Please be aware about that. Project yourself as an achiever by identifying your opportunities and your strengths. Winning over others, the woo is very important, and the winning over others will be, as I said earlier, by small things. Is when you're very responsive, when you reach out, when you're very real, when you're very relatable, very relevant for your target audience. They would want to see you again and again, and that's when you will woo them. Positivity, whatever you may be saying, but you have to say that with a sense of positivity, right? People like to listen to motivators, or even so-called babas or gurus, only because they're able to say it in a positive manner. So we are already, everyone for on social media is looking for positivity. The step 3 is communicate your brand. Once you've really developed, identified, you need to create a communication plan. Okay, you need to figure out when you figured out your target audience, you also have to figure out what will be the combination of vehicles or the mediums or the platforms that you will try to reach out to. Now when I say a combination of vehicles, because it is not possible that you just pick up one way, that okay, I'll be present only on Twitter. You will have to develop some combination of vehicles, right? And the vehicles, I will repeat, could be all social media platforms. It could be a blog, it could be a podcast, it could be a text writing WhatsApp messages, it could be some YouTube videos that you are building, etc. Also develop a timeline to implement support constancy in your communication. So this is where, as I said, that it takes time and effort, and you have to be consistent and continuous effort. So please develop a timeline, and also wherever your communications will be implemented. Basically here we are talking about the three important C's. One is the clarity that you have about your personal branding. Number two is the consistency. You cannot be there once in a month and then forget. You cannot think that okay, I will do it only once in a week, or if you decide that yes, you're a once in week or twice a week publishing some episode or article or whatever, it has to be consistent. It can't be that you do it for 1 week and then forget it for 2 more weeks. Then you are gone. People will not be able to follow you. If I speak it in a very, very rugged and very desi language, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. Not that we are trying to sell ourselves here, but yes, we're trying to market ourselves. We're trying to project ourselves, and we're trying to market ourselves as a brand. You have to have that visibility and therefore constancy. So clarity, consistency and constancy, you have to do it for a considerable period of time. You cannot just do it short term and then forget it. You may do it best for short term and then forget it. You'll have to consistently do it. And there has to be huge sense of transparency. Be very, very true, because interestingly on social media platform, however fake social media or the digital space, however fake we are trying to be, there is still a huge sense of transparency that comes throughout. The tangible form of communications are your personal websites, blogs, social networks, your presence on social networks. I said your business cards, both digital or non-digitals, your resumes and achievements and accomplishments that you put across these platforms, the portfolios that you develop on the digital space. So I like to tell a very interesting thing about portfolios. So I know that there is a whole community that the Adobe Illustrator has built up a platform called Beyonce just for these graphic designers, where they interact, get work on this and showcase their work on their page. So it's a beautiful platform that is being developed for them, so where they can show their portfolio. uh, Intangible form of communications are sometimes when name becomes big, have you ever thought as a teacher that can your name be just disconnected with the university or the college you're working in? Have you reached there? Can I be just called as Dr. Tanu Narang, or not Dr. Tanu Narang from so and so university? Appearance, competencies, personality. What is my mission? Am I here for a mission? Is there a vision that I'm looking at? And there is a value system that I'm projecting. These become intangible forms of communications. So these are just a few things for you to reflect on. Maintain your brand. Once you have developed, you've identified, you're developed, and you started communicating, you need to maintain that. Search for information about yourself online. Google yourself all the time. Possible, put yourself on a Google alert. Be consistent. Keep doing your walk the talk. Assess your brand regularly. Check what people are talking about you, how many people are referring you, right? There are tools to do that. Gather feedback as others' recommendations. That becomes gather testimonials. Ask people what they would want. Content will come from them. Ask what they would want you to speak on. Try to weave your positioning around that. And most important, please try to stay relevant. I always say this, that as a professor of marketing, I am almost present everywhere on every social media platform and explore that. Any new element that comes, I try to explore and understand. The reason very clearly is because my audience, that is the young student who's sitting in the class, will find me relevant only if I would be knowing about what they are doing or what they are in their daily lives facing. I I cannot create a disconnect, right? Therefore, please stay relevant with what your audience want to do or want to listen or what is new, and what's happening. So relevance is very important. So, as I said, there are laws of personal branding, and the laws are not very huge. There are three very important laws. First law is authenticity. So, if you're looking at something which is very long term, and you're also looking at something where you're trying to brand your own self, so obviously, um, authenticity is your key to it. You need to be yourself because everyone else is taken and replicas don't sell anymore. So be your individual self, be what you are, right? Then transparency. I've mentioned this earlier also. Please be very straightforward and honest. Uh, because the lies can actually work against you. You will not be doing the walk by talk. You cannot be a different individual on the digital platform and a different individual on the non digital platform. Visibility, the notion that if you are known, you don't exist. If you are not known, then you don't exist. So visibility is very important, and therefore I say that choose a combination of platforms, combination of vehicles to reach out to your target audience. Okay, we are reaching towards the end of our session, and I would like us to learn and understand from examples. So, although I will not have immediate responses, but I will give you some time to reflect on this one question. So, name one or two top man of the company Apple, and I'm sure immediately you have the names in your mind, right? The current and the past both. Yes, clearly. Steve Jobs and Tim Cook. I don't even need to write their names because they both have done amazing personal branding. They're Although they're known to build Apple, but they're just not known for Apple. They have their own personal brand. My next question to all of you. Name one top man of Samsung. Unfortunately, I have to say man because it isn't a woman yet, but not unfortunately. Okay, name one top man of Samsung. Samsung is a close competitor, if not in the same segment, just the market size. Apple. Do we know one top man of Samsung? Such a big brand? No. I'm sure very few of you. You will have to reach out to the Google. And so did I had to. Lee Jong Yang. This is that person. You don't know. No personal branding. It's all Samsung. Anyways, that's what I'm trying to say is the power of personal branding, that we still know Steve Jobs for what Steve Jobs is, or Tim Cook for what Tim Cook is as a person, but we don't know anybody as a person from Samsung. That is that totally their individual choice and philosophy. But what I'm trying to say in this example is the power of personal branding. Moving ahead, Elon Musk. You all know this is the name we all know. Even if you're not a techie, you know many children call him the real life Iron Man, a rich guy who does experiments, Elon Musk. And then we know Tesla, or then we know SpaceX. He's a brand, personal branding. Jaggi Sadhguru, Baba of this generation. I've been asking my students in the age of 18, 15, or even 20s, if you ask them one spiritual person they have to name from India, this will be a man. Personal branding that he has done. Jeff Bezos, the richest man, and then Amazon, right? But Jeff Bezos has his own branding, his own personality. Yes, definitely taking big names, but that's where we learn from. Oprah Winfrey, there's one black woman who made it a point in the world of American television. She's a story, she's a narrative. Until today, her name alone is some millions of dollars worth. So, with this note, I wanted to finish my session here, and wanted to put an end to the presentation. The document is available. There is a small MCQ and an assignment that will be shared with you. Um, this was a small gist of how we should see personal branding, right from what is personal branding, its importance, especially on the digital era and space now. There were steps about personal branding, laws about personal branding, and then we moved about learning from examples. So I'm very thankful once again for this opportunity given to me, and I hope that you would be able to derive some very interesting thought provoking ways of branding yourself, whether as a teacher also, and disconnect yourself not only, and this will help you in your careers, and you may not only be known by what organization you're working in, but as an individual. Thank you once again.